them. And now that he's no longer on the side, you could wager this is a different team secret that they stand up against today. But what effect can that have? Can it change the tides of war between these two teams on this map?
Well, I mean, we've both, with both teams in the server here that are looking for more consistency as well, Des. So it is an opportunity for Team Secret to get over that loss against G2 and start to get themselves back on track. But for Team Empire more so, it's just that opportunity here to really solidify the work that's been done over the past few weeks. Nomad is going to be the first one to go. That was Empire's choice. And then Team Secret will take out the Thatcher. So we're following Jess's segment at the beginning there, and the ban rates continue.
Two of our top three banned out. We spoke about it, Nomad being in the top three, although she was in the last stage as well. Consulate wasn't the most popular map last stage. I believe that was Oregon, and then Consulate came in second, with Clubhouse, I think, narrowly behind, whereas this stage it is Consulate and then Clubhouse sat in second. The Valkyrie comes as a pairing on this map, normally with the Nomad as well. Without the ability to deny jump outs, the Valkyrie cams being outside the map are going to make it an absolute nightmare for attackers looking to get to the building safely, so no surprise to see that one taken away as well.
Final ban coming in then. It will be Team Empire who will take our second defender, and it will be Mira. Now, Mira, I won't say limited use on Consulate because it's certainly not limited use. Are there other maps where she's more powerful? Yes, there absolutely are. But at the same time, we've seen some really great uses. The reason that I mention it particularly is we have seen Mira available on Consulate, and we've seen some really good uses of her so far this stage. As if you remember, you know exactly which defence I'm thinking back to. It was the G2 top floor. They were actually defending Preston Lobby, I think it was, and we had Virtue in the little sort of. It's a little kitchen just off of Copy Room, and he had the mirror in there. He was playing on the Jaeger, but he had the black window, the black mirror there, and he was just looking through it into admin, and he was just an absolute nightmare to move, and it can really lock down that side of the map. And then of course we see it used down in security quite often as well, just to assist in plant denial from those deep throws of smoke canisters, of nitros down to the front of White Van.
Well, on this exact site, remember last week, VP versus Vitality. Vitality were in a 3 versus 2, and VP with one player inside of security, one inside a cafeteria, had a mirror window set up and won the 2 versus 3 without losing a single man. Just goes to show how obnoxious it can be, and I thought for a second Empire might let it through, given it has been one of their go-to crutch operators in these games where they've really struggled to defend. They've lent on the mirror on maps like Oregon to really shine for them. But with it not being available, we can talk more about what is being brought along. And on the desk, they mentioned about Secret's propensity to go towards the zero. It's going to stick true here alongside the Yana. Again, that top pick that we constantly keep on speaking about. And on the other side, it seems to be ever present at the moment. Seeing the Mute and the Mozzie coming out here, it's kind of on every single map, every single site, they feel incredibly popular.
It's worth pointing out as well that on a slightly smaller scale to some of the other alternatives, Zero is an alternative to Thatcher as well in his own way. Of course, those cams do get one sort of shock dart once they've gone through. So if you get them into the right spot, you can take out an Electrical, for example, and you can allow your hard breaches in to get that work done. So obviously, the information is the first and foremost task of those SAM cams, but there are other uses as well. Sleben just applying some immediate pressure to Joystick up on the top floor then. We've seen this become a very popular position inside a console. We've also got Dan up there. We've got Cider as well. This is a heavy top floor presence, Des, for what is a garage site. Let's remember, we're all the way in the basement here. The thing with Consulate is you can get back down there very, very quickly if those hatches are open.
You can. The big one here is mainly because they need control of piano to get rid of the Kite Electroclaw from above. And of course, you can't get control of piano if someone's sat inside of console on the top floor, because they're going to blast you through any holes in the floor. To make sure he's not completely isolated, you've also got the Mute and the Mozzie playing on the top floor. Joystick starting out onto Gomfy. That's the Yana remove before those frag grenades could be used. You can see at the top of your screen in the top right corner. That number 4 next to the frag grenades indicates that there are still 4 on side. 2 are with Keenan and 2 have gone to the grave with Gomfy.
Joystick has managed to get that opening kill whilst pinned into a corner by Sleben on the rappel. He could barely move in console office and he's still found the opener. If that's how things are going to continue for Joystick tonight, Team Secret could be in serious trouble. They're in trouble inside of round 1 here as we're heading at a real pace towards a flawless round here, Des. There it is. Joystick, he finishes things just as he starts them. We've got kills for Dan, kills for Cider in the middle. Great team effort. I picked up on the teamwork of Team Empire from the last play day, and coming in here, they're showing that it is just as good today. That was a beautiful top floor hold. 3 players up there, all supporting each other, all covering each other's angles, and they just reaped the rewards.
Big time, yeah. I mean, the big one there for me when you looked at how it played out was it started in a very predictable fashion. Secret knew what they were facing up against. You had Joystick playing up inside a console. And as soon as the first kill or two came through, that's when the Empire members started moving. You had Scyther dancing in and around front desk, heading down Spiral, for example, catching a couple of kills out towards benches. And Secret just didn't know where these members of Empire were going to be. Once that kind of first initial play was over, that's when they looked lost, and Empire just completely ran away with it from there. Head down onto the first floor, I suppose I should say here, or up onto. I forgot what site we started on in this case. And with the Aruni being brought along on this site as well, not giga popular for this site, I dare I'd say. A lot of teams prefer to hold up inside a bathroom, for example, and play with a shield out towards the front door. But on Empire's side, they're saying the windows and that front door, we want those laser gated up, Ace.
They certainly do want them laser gated up, and we can see the double door has had that applied immediately. Always getting upstairs as well. Of course, that Aruni punch able to go through the soft walls, so she again is a great option. She's very versatile in these tasks that she can complete, and that is opening up those rotations, just working on the remodeling of site as the defenders may want it. And in this case, you've still got your SAS operators of Mute and Smoke. You've still got the shotguns there that can do that work, but it does offer you that flexibility to not feel like you have to bring those operators to do that.
Now, let's see how this first floor setup goes then, and naturally I think for Secret you're going to see them starting on the top floor. It was kind of the go-to thematic on this site is that you generally need vertical control for any site that you're looking to attack or defend in most cases, as we saw from Empire back in round 1. This attack should be no different. Before you can look to have a plant inside a lobby, you generally want meeting controllers. If there is a Mute player sat up there, in this case it's Dan, they can just spray, it's on the smoke I should say, they can just spray you down through any holes that they've got in the floor, as you can see to the bottom right corner of your screen. That makes it impossible to actually plant inside of lobby. Outside of that, do you really want to risk like funneling yourself up through yellow or rappelling into the windows inside a piano? Likely not.
Lots of problems to be solved for Team Secret. We've got Keenan just dropping himself down on the rappel towards the double door there. Sleben's got himself established inside of admin now. He's able to start opening up the soft floors, but not push as far as meeting yet, as Dan is still locking down those windows. Toxic Babe canisters are being deployed, but as you say quite rightly, Des, that's 2 used inside of the first half. So Dan could find himself in a pinch later on here as he gets pushed and does not have any of that utility to slow his aggressors down anymore now. Packbull, he's going to start to burn out ADSs, and this is how it goes. In comes the nades, in comes the throwables. Dan somehow, almost inexplicably, is still locked in position. Hasn't been cleared out yet, but you just feel the time is coming. Secret are applying more and more pressure. Dan, it's time to get yourself down the hatch, but he's only going to go one place, and that's into the ground as Sleben finds the headshot from the top of Spiral. 2 minutes in though, and that is a good amount of time wasted by Team Empire up in meeting.
Burnt through all those smokes as well. He had a couple of team members lurking around, one inside a connector, but sadly, and even on front desk as well, but you can't cover onto Sleben here when he stays through the double doorway. He hasn't pushed into the longer corridor itself to make an impact, so no one could challenge onto him. Good play for Secret, managed to make the smoke player of Dan move around enough that he ran to the line of sight for the Zofia. And now you got Joystick trying to contest onto the window for Sleben to win it out and find a 2k in the round. Not sure about that one.
Big round from Sleben so far as he's got himself a double. 28 seconds left to go. Team Secret diffuser in hand, and it starts to go down. Packbull will try to hold on to this one. Great shots onto the Nitro to protect the planter, and that leaves us now effectively 1 versus 5. There could be an answer of a flawless with a flawless here, but Shepard, having none of it, finds himself at least one. That's a kill onto Hive, but we're still 1 versus 4. 31 seconds shut down by Sleben at the top of the spiral stairs, and this could be a big battle between those big fraggers of Joystick and Sleben.
Yeah, you'd be asking questions there, I think, on the side of Empire as to why they were being so passive in the defense. You know that there's pressure starting to form out towards admin side on the meeting window. Someone coming up spiral, uncontested, might I add at that. And they just quite simply pick the man off. And then Joystick choose to go quite aggressive onto the window, hoping to maybe catch someone on the push in, but you still had Sleben holding the same angle at the top of Spiral. And just like in the first round, it all deteriorates from that 5 versus 3 into a very dominant round for the team that found those first 2 kills. We're going to go upstairs then, see how the top floor defense kicks off. This time around, it's a similar sort of setup where you will have a player holding inside a meeting, albeit for different reasons. I want to see Empire get a little bit more, not so much aggressive, but mobile in this round. Look at the first round, when they had 3 on the top floor moving around a lot. That caught Secret off guard. Round 2, and they're a lot more static. Secret just go, right, we know where 1, 2, and 3 are. We know what angles we can take. We know where we can push. And Empire just kind of let it happen.
Exactly that, Des. You bang on the money there, because as you say, we saw Dan getting pushed around, hassled and bullied for 2 minutes there. And where was his support? Where was the effort to get onto the flanks, to get up Spiral, to get up Yellow, to get another angle, to maybe get underneath into Visas, disrupt the Zero that was playing in there? You know, move him around, get some nitros up onto the ceiling. Just do anything to stop Team Secret focusing on that push onto Dan quite as much as they were. And as you say, it's something that they did much better in round 1. So heading into round 3 then. We're into the action phase. We're on our 3rd site for the day. We're going to be right up to the top floor this time onto console. It looks like it's going to be a Yellow Stairs hold at least from Team Empire. Whether it will be a full Yellow Stairs push from Team Secret, we will find out.
It looks to be that's where they're focusing on. You can see Slevin on the rappel with Diana playing on that side of the map. In fact, 2 or 3 of them now are playing over towards that side, so it suggests they do want to get this cleared before they look at anything else. And it's always worth mentioning that you kind of see 2 different takes on this top floor, where some teams focus on admin and work their way across, normally looking for a meeting plant, for example. You'll go and try and plant in the bottom left corner of the room, or you can play through Yellow, you can play through the console windows and try and make that your point of ingress. But it requires on you getting coverage inside a connector, for example, to stop yourself being tagged as soon as you go for the rappel in. You also need Yellow Stairs for that exact same reason, else a player is going to shoot you out as you try to rappel in and go for the plant.
Always falls back then from his position in bathroom, and Team Secret may not know it at this point, but they have got the access that they need to Yellow Stairs. There's no rush to get in there. There's plenty of time. They'll just make sure that everything is secure. There's no push coming from underneath from piano or benches, which there isn't at this point in time, and then they'll get themselves established. Now, that line of sight that's just been opened up allows a peek all the way from that bathroom window into connector. We've got High for rappelling on that connector window as well. He's looking to maybe just apply a bit of pressure to Sidra, who's playing underneath in piano at the moment as well, supporting Joystick. Quite an interesting little duo combination underneath there in piano at the minute. There's obviously nitros in hand, a lot of potential for vertical denial, but they need to be careful that they're not leaving the site light-handed.
That's exactly it, right? They're playing for this C4 denial as soon as the plant does try to come in through console window, assuming that's going to be the play, and Secret's response to that is to try and clear out lobby with Hive currently knocking on the front door. If you get a cheeky headshot onto this one, it'll be absolutely godly for Shepard, but him now being as low as he is, he needs to be so careful at this point, because those 3 smokes sat in his back pocket, they are super invaluable the later this round goes on.
They certainly are. Now,
good night.
He's going to be cleared out by a grenade from Gonfi. Joystick, however, manages to find himself one as he jumps out. He's looking for a potential second as the challenge could come in. The problem with run-outs and jump-outs on Consulate is how long it takes you to get back inside and how dangerous that route is. Now, Joystick's on an absolute steal here. There's nobody taking him back in. He's going to call it a day, though, and he looks to move back inside. Sleben, well aware of his likely position, will take the man down. That leaves us 3 versus 2 now, with that little flurry of aggression towards the late round here. Sleben underneath, just opening up those angles, trying to force the defenders to move around, and in doing so manages to find himself a second. Gonfi with 2 on the round as well, and another good round for Team Secret.
Given the kind of run-of-the-mill, once again, I feel, the Empire haven't really looked to challenge too aggressively. They had the 2 on the downstairs, and sure, Joystick had his jump out after Shepard got naded. But again, it's one man kind of being left to defend a key side of the map, and they go, well, we've got a bit of pressure downstairs from Hive, so they can't freely move around and throw C4s. We've cleared Shepard out of connector. We can go right up against that wall and get a plant down. Now, for Empire, you had always hanging out towards admin, for example, in case there was a flank coming through for there. But I just feel at that point, there's more of an onus on you to say, right, they've naded out our player inside a connector. That tells us where this attack is coming from. We need to be mobilizing now to stop this. Secret just being given a bit too much room to breathe, I think, and I really want to see, again, Empire getting a bit more aggressive. The Mute and the Mozzie coming along together, to me, that's what worked so well for them in round 1. I'm glad to see they're doing it again. Yeah,
like you say, get themselves out, get mobile. What it does is it just forces the attackers to move in into face check angles, because, of course, the Mozzie Pests, the Mute Jammers, they just make it an absolute nightmare to get drones into key areas. You can create large black spots on the map whereby they just can't gather any information, and there's no option for them but to get boots on the ground, walk in there and have a look with their eyes, and that is when you start losing gunfights, and that's what Team Empire are going to be looking to do here out on the roam. We've got Always on the Maestro along with Shepard back in sight. They will set things up, but it's certainly looking like a heavy roam presence once again coming in from Team Empire. It's a couple of interesting little electrical positions which you can take away with you. Use those in your ranked games. They're not always the easiest to find.
Now, I like the one again under that unit's off to the left of the door itself. It's kind of like this grey kind of like cupboarded door thing, like a cabinet.
A tool chest.
Yeah, you chuck one under there and it's like really hard to actually catch it out as well. So many teams have missed it until they've actually got a drone in and said, oh, okay, it's underneath there. And even then it can be quite hard to nade out sometimes given the depth that it goes into. Either way, I think again it's being orchestrated by Secret here what the approach is. They're saying forget about the roamers here. We're looking to get straight inside, and look at that. You were speaking about the SAM cams earlier on, but just can't quite see the Electroclaw underneath that grey box.
As I say, it can be used as an alternative to Thatcher. Gomfi gets very lucky there, and Nitro tossed out of that top window. Another one of my favourites, almost reaches its intended target, but the Iana will live to fight another day. 5 versus 5 still. Dan, he's working on the upstairs until pushed out. He's going to hold those vertical angles from Piano, and he's just in a perfect position to deny any plant attempt that might come in through that main door. So it's something that Secret need to be very aware of, but there are other pieces of the puzzle that they need to deal with before they can move Dan out of there, and that is going to be Joystick, and he is going to be dealt with by Hive from the skylight. Hive is now going to hightail it onto those Piano windows to try and force Dan away from that vertical angle.
Hive's had his life there. I thought for a second, okay, he's playing up yellow. It might be a little bit aggressive here. I thought he might get caught out by a potential crush coming in from yellow door, but no, it was the skylight instead. So good patience coming out of Hive to have that one held down. You can see them starting to square up now and thinking about this yellow push in, because that's going to be the cover they need as the man runs in through the breach and goes for the plant. Papel going to be the one tasked with that responsibility, but elsewhere around the map there's one or two. No idea that there's a man pushing them in. Keenan finding Dan for free, who was looking completely the wrong way.
Keenan getting himself one there, as you say. Scyther does manage to find Hive. That's going to be a headshot, and he's working his way across the map. He knows there's one on yellow stairs, but challenged from multiple angles. He now manages to find another down in Keenan as well. Sleben and Gomfi, however, they take two, and surely it's all going to be over in a matter of seconds, but maybe not. Scyther manages to get himself two. Packball's getting that diffuser down. He's deep in sight. He's by the bomb chassis. The cover's in place.
Oh, nice.
Scyther chooses to go after the man who is planting, but will not be able to find that kill. Round closed out. Team Secret 3-1 now.
Oh dear, you can feel them slowly starting to run away with this. I mean, for Empire, we spoke about them playing that roam-based game in round one that worked so well. They tried it again in this round, admittedly a little bit different, and Secret just go, well, if you want to play the roam game, we'll just go direct to site. It's not at all a problem by us. So for Secret, I think good adaptation to what we're seeing coming out of Empire. It's playing well for them so far. Empire have been caught out a couple of times there, not even knowing that they were being pushed from a certain angle, and they are slowly starting to slip away. If this ends up being a 4-2, 5-1 half for Secret, I think we'd be very worried as Empire going on to the attack, given their strength historically has been on the defensive side.
I'd completely agree with you in that. I think Empire will be worrying. I think it's a little bit strange. As I said, we've seen much better performances coming out of Team Empire, but once again, the consistency curse of EUL seems to strike Des, and we find ourselves in a position whereby we just have sort of a flip reversal of the fortunes of these two teams. And I just want to have a look at the defensive win rates for Team Secret here on Consulate when we look at it on a sort of a site-by-site basis particularly, because that's going to be particularly important as we move on now. They've won one, lost one on Consulate up to today. I gotta say, Des, the defensive win rates aren't great. At absolute best, they've got a 40% win rate on defensive press and lobby. That's their best site for Team Secret. So there are opportunities for Empire to turn this around on the attack.
It's assuming they can attack well, of course, and that's the one thing you got to consider, of course, is the matchup. Oh, Packball! He looked away at the exact moment that someone appeared at the window. You'll be rubbing that one for a while. I'm sure it could have been an absolute freebie for the boys. Unfortunately, not to be the case. However, that's fine. They won't complain too much. The one thing I'm watching here, Ace, is going to be the Echo, though, on Shepard. Normally, it's on Cafe when we get very excited about seeing an Echo brought along, especially on the kitchen side. But here, it's a bit more information for the boys to play around. They've still got the Mutant Mozzie info to know. They're still playing behind the Kaid, for example.
Far too late.
It's all the same sort of stuff.
Far too late as the Electroclaw applied. The thermite, exothermic charge almost about to detonate! And talking about detonating, that is devastating from Joystick out of that top window. He's already tried it once, Des. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They've allowed that one to come out, not watching the console windows. And Team Secret, that could have been a lot worse. Packbull just having got that garage door open. Had he not, oh boy, this would be a very different round right about now.
I think he heard it was your birthday and thought, everyone gets a present today. Some the more explosive variety, the best way to describe it.
He's seen my clips on YouTube, on Twitter, Des.
That's it, mate, yeah.
It's my top floor, that's my top floor nitro.
That's definitely it, mate. EUL players have been watching Ace of Pyro playing in Gold
absolutely.
3 and their nitros being thrown at the top floor of Consulate.
Gold 2.
Always, Gold 2. Always finds a second before Sleben, who's having a great game, strikes back, finds a second for himself, and suddenly we're all square at 3-3. Secret are on the push in, sitting in behind White Van here, and Dan left his station momentarily. He's not going to be in a spot to be able to deny this one. Might have to whip out the shotgun and look for something else. Has still got the Yokais to play behind here potentially, and now Gomfy knows. Side to finds one, finds a second. It's all been shut down as Sleben is on about 5 HP. Is he a superpower player? Something tells me not when you're on this much HP left alive, because all they've got to do is sit and wait. Let him be the one that pushes you and makes the mistake, and it's all too easy for Side through. Nets yet another 3k. Empire finally break the curse and take a round away from Secret.
Big game for Scyther coming in so far. He's had a number of multi-kills and he really is firing on all cylinders, and Team Empire are going to be very grateful for it. It all started really, you have a strong start like that. Packbull gets put down by a Nitro at top window, absolute freebie of a kill. It's one of them, you take your chances, you know where the players are going to hide, you know there's a strong likelihood there could be somebody in and around that area. Really, the practice comes into hitting that Nitro to get in the throw right so it doesn't catch the balcony on the way down or anything else. But perfectly played by Joystick, and it just gave them that ignition that they needed into the round. It's interesting, if we looked as every single round so far, all 5 of them have gone in the direction of the opening kill, and so we picked up on it. Jess and Fleet spoke about it before we came out here. They had their head-to-head, they were highlighting those entry figures and those entry battles, and it's just coming through. It's showing how important it is in this game.
I mean, the entry coming out of a C4 is one thing. Just as a replay for that, in case you missed it. These are one of the ones that you will stand there and practice and see where the C4 falls to as well, because he's just got that over the edge of the wall as well, beautifully placed onto the player that would be waiting on that corner, where you'll often have a support player waiting, just waiting for the drone work to finish before they can go and get the wall open, for example. And I wonder how different that could have played out, because Packbull would have had smokes on that thermite. He would have been instrumental to getting the smokes down, getting the plant in place to stop Dan, who was playing above in piano on the mute with the shotgun and the SMG, from being able to spray him down as he made that happen. That's why Secret had to force 2 or 3 players into strong arm their way into cafeteria and look for a plant inside of there. 3-2 then to Secret. Empire with a real chance to at least rescue the half and bring it back to 3-3. But I think given how dominant Secret have looked in those 3 rounds they've won, they'll be kind of feeling a bit remorseful that they haven't walked away with more.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, but I think if they come I think if they come in at 3-3 on the half, Empire will feel pretty good about that, and I think they'll see an opportunity to move on. As you say, Secret, they could well just be ruining things, as they've had opportunity for more. Keenan once again getting himself up onto that balcony rappel. I would imagine they're going to employ very similar tactics to those that they used last time to try and clear Dan out of meeting. They are forcing those smoke canisters out very, very early into the round. That's within the first minute. We've got the first Toxic Babe deployed there from Dan. Now then, Shepard all the way downstairs on the Malusi. Got a Nitro in hand, so there's a big vertical opportunity there. We know that it is possible if the hatches are open this time. Dan from meeting, look at that angle, Des. Look at that angle. All the way down from basement, right up to those double windows from the balcony. That could be disgusting.
I mean, the thing is, they've lost the player that was there. It was Keenan on the sledge that was playing on that window initially, and now that he isn't there, there should be a moment of relief, I think, almost for Dan. Not so much that he knows he's not getting pressured, because he still will be pressured, but one of those 3 angles that they pinched him from last time has now been relieved. There is less pressure coming in. He can play a little bit more freely, and Secret might have to commit someone to moving over to play on that meeting balcony.
Well, now they're going to have to challenge him more than likely. Last time they didn't have to. Sleben got the freebie from the top of Spiral, whereas this time somebody is going to have to push in through that rotate or through that single door. Otherwise, Dan, he's just going to stay put. He's not going anywhere. So, Secret, they need to figure out an answer. Sleben's holding the same angle, but Dan's not going to creep across in front of there again. Joystick finds one onto Gomfy. Dan gets one onto Packbull, and that was the moment I was talking about, Des. Packbull had to push in. They had to do something, and Dan had the power position. He had all the cards. Sleben 1 versus 4 now. He's got an awful lot of work to do, and this one looks like it's going to be Team Empire 3, Team Secret 3 at at the half.
That's absolutely how it's starting to settle down. I think, again, Empire will be happy walking away from that one. I did wonder for a second about Sleben playing up here at the top of Spiral. One thing I will give to Secret, they had Hive basically dedicated downstairs to making sure he was safe, that no one was going to flank up Spiral. They had the sound cams there. He was holding it the long angle with the gun, also able to cover the bottom of Visa stairs. It was a nice setup from Secret, but it happens where you lose your gunfights. Dan finding the sledge first, finding Patbull as he pushed into the doorway, for example. It went their way in that round, and 3-3 at the half leaves things all even. It's all going to matter on what happens in the second.
Worth noting as well, Des, that we haven't seen Empire play Consulate yet. This is the first time in Stage 2. So they've come in here with information available to them, with Team Secret having played there twice previously. So they've got the information now on what Team Secret are going to do on the defence, potentially. So if anything, I think Empire come in here with a slight advantage, whereas Team Secret have had to come in blind of information as to what Team Empire might do on the defence. Empire can at least have had some sort of setup ready for this. They can have some sort of idea, unless Team Secret just bring completely new strats to the table. You would expect Team Empire to at least have a reasonable idea. Now, we've got the Clash brought along from Packball. That's always an interesting one. Always love to see Packball on the Clash.
Always a surprise.
Always love to see a Clash in action. They can be an absolute nightmare. But the thing with the Clash is it generally needs to be teamed. It needs to be partnered with somebody, because obviously there's absolutely no gunfights realistically that can be taken until it's sort of desperate situation when you're going to sling that shield on your back and try to take a machine pistol fight. So generally speaking, Packball's just feeding information. So you need somebody working with him to react to that information and to do the gunfights for him to try and get those kills. So we'll see just exactly what position he plays in and how that pans out.
They are, more a player, I'd say, that's known for playing the Clash than so much a team. Like Packball, from as far back as I can remember him, God, thinking back to pre-Yukin days when it was the ESL Premiership, thinking back to then, he was a player that was known for playing on the Clash an awful lot. Now, there are, of course, ways to deal with the Clash, but it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world. You'll have grenades coming out, you'll have impacts coming out, you concussions. It requires a lot of commitment from the attacking team, but the longer you leave it alive, the more damage it can do in the dying seconds. When you've got, say, 1 or 2 players left, that's when Clash is really going to sting. So you're almost forced to try and deal with it early on, which can pull you into some risky engagements.
It's a numbers game with Clash. It really is a numbers game.
It's like Monty, right?
Yeah, if you're 5 versus 2 and one of those is a Clash, then that's not really a problem at all. That's absolutely fine. But you're 1v1, 2v2, then you're in big trouble. So we have the nade coming in, looking to clear out the electrical, which it will successfully do. That's going to allow Shepard then to get the wall open with the thermite. Don't manage to find the second, but will still take down some barbed wire, so not a waste altogether. Going to drop the diffuser outside there as well for when the plant attempt does come along. Obviously, just that caution being applied so that there isn't a kill inside the map that leaves the diffuser in no man's land. It will allow anybody the opportunity to be able to get in. But what that tells you is that Empire know that they are on not necessarily a roam clearance state in this game now, but they are on a let's find some kills. They need to go in and find some gunfights, get some kills, take the man count down before they start going in and trying to put that diffuser down.
Doing all the right stuff to start, making sure they've got that vertical control as well, working their way towards yellow where you're going to be greeted by the Clash. You had 2 or 3 members hovering on the upstairs at this point, and they're the ones I think that, now that they've got the yellow control, will be able to do quite a bit of work inside of Piano. Always starting to swing that hammer as we hit that 60-second mark. This is where you start thinking about the execute, because again, that Clash is still alive. The longer you leave this round, the more dangerous she's going to be.
Certainly is. Always looking to get those nades in from above as well. There's angles being held through hatch, through floor, through 2 floors. Could be a real lot of trouble coming Team Secret's way here, as Team Empire, they're just jostling for position around this site, looking to get that opportunity, and it's going to be a big catalyst when that first kill comes in. And if it goes in the direction of Team Empire, could be big trouble always. He puts Gonfi in trouble with a headshot, and here I go, Des. As I said, it's a catalyst. Dan, he finds one onto Hive, and the pieces of the puzzle, they start to slot together for Team Empire. As Scyther moves in, diffuser in hand, looks to get it down. Yokai drawn out, Sleben down, joystick double kill, and it's all going in the favour of Team Empire. And just like they started their defence, they're going to start their attack with a flawless round.
Now, if we follow the storyline, this is when Secret come back with a near flawless round in round number 2, and then we really descend into chaos between the 2 teams. That was a classic Empire attack, right, where you get nervous of, oh, you know, that clock's running dangerously low, there's still a clash left alive, can you really get away with this? Well, guess what? I guess they can. It was one of those where they were conscious of the yokai drones, they'd cleared out the evil eyes, they'd done everything that they were supposed to, basically, and then went in for the attack at the very dying moment. So really good to see again, the calm, kind of composed setup. Sure, one extra yokai there in a place they didn't know about could have ruined the whole thing, and that's just kind of the classic Empire style, really.
It is, to be honest, but I think, you know, that final execute, Empire had the number there. They knew exactly what was what, and the kills just came raining in one after another. And as I said, they were just waiting for that catalyst. They got themselves in position really well, and it was just like, you know, it was just the spark in the powder keg at that point. As soon as that first kill goes off, you just know there's going to be an almighty explosion. And to be honest, whoever picked up that first kill, it could have gone either way. Secret could have carried that momentum and got the round, but it was Empire who managed to pick it up, and what a great round it was for them. And as I said, coming in on the attack, I just feel like they have a little bit of an advantage over Team Secret, given that previous information that's available for them, and just given the fact that we haven't seen them here on Consulate yet. Team Secret's defences haven't been the best on Consulate, and for me, Team Empire might just run away with this now.
I think it was the outcome expected coming into the day, right? We all looked at this and said, well, Empire started the series or the stage 0-2. Now they're 2-2. They're kind of on the bounce back coming into Playday 5. They're against Secret, a team that are, you know, nearing the bottom at this point. They're not doing so well. I think it's only Rogue and Knights who are lower than them at this point. You look at that and just think, well, realistically, you expect Empire to be the ones that walk away with the win here. So I think to come out the first half as dominant as they did, you're not going to be complaining. Now, I don't know if this was client-side debris here and you could actually see
I think it must be.
him. It was an absolute free. It was a beautiful shot, though. To get that opened up and find your man straight away, that was really the catalyst they needed. Clear out security office, remove the man that was playing behind there. You step forward, you go for your execute, easy peasy.
It was great use of the verticals from Team Empire. We saw, you know, I commented on it. We had one using a vertical angle, we had one on a hatch, we had a second on a vertical angle, the Ash, and it was just an absolute nightmare for Team Secret inside of that site. I can guarantee it. There was very little position, very little space for them to be able to move into to keep themselves safe. Now, out goes the Nitro from Keenan onto that admin window. It will not be as successful as the top floor Nitros that we saw out of Joystick. It's not going to connect with its mark. The man just further down on Repelled and is able to catch any damage from that. Joystick looking to get himself into visas quickly, or at least clear out anybody that's playing in there. So this tells us that Team Empire, they're going to push into admin. They want to get control of that side of the map, which they're already doing. Always is moving his way through, and he's going to try to clear out Meeting along with some support. So we'll see now whether Team Secret can hold on for Meeting for as long as Dan did.
I like what they're already doing is sticking Hive here like halfway up Spiral and just having him ready to contest someone that wants to push up Spiral, because when Sleben was playing on the attack, he was playing at the top of these stairs as that threatening angle. Otherwise, it's looking mostly the same. They've got this east side control, are looking to push their way across, got a man playing on the Repel, for example, to try and pressure Gomfy. It's exactly the same as we saw in the first half, but here, Empire have paused, a couple of players are on drones, Shepard and Joystick were just there a second ago, making sure that they've got good knowledge of what's going on out towards front desk.
Numbers established inside of admin then, and it all comes down to Gomfy and how stubborn and how long he can remain in that position for. Now, interestingly, he doesn't have a deployable shield, so he hasn't necessarily got the same sort of utility, but we see Wamai Magnet just getting placed by Sleben there after the fact, after those flashbangs have gone in. They weren't aware of it, Des. I was just going to say, if Empire aren't aware that this Wamai Magnet has gone out, it could be costly for them. Out comes the nade. It won't connect with its target, but Sleben will take Scyther down for the opener. 5 versus 4.
It didn't matter because Gomfy had dropped away 30 seconds ago, but without fresh drones coming in, they assumed he was still there. I thought for a second Dan had got the challenge on the lobby door, so he knew that he'd already dropped away. Maybe he didn't know that it was the mute that had dropped out of playing in the room, but now Dan surely must have the idea they can make this play. Joystick crouch walking his way through towards Spiral here, running up the top. I mentioned Hive earlier on. He could even throw if he wanted to something at the top of these stairs and open it up, but Diffuser is going down. In comes Patbull here, going to get the spray down because the cover wasn't there from Always. Now going to have to step in and go for the plant back himself, but does he have the cover? No, he does not. He's got to try and look for all 3 kills here. Ace gets sprayed down from Keenan coming in from Spiral. A little bit too easy for Secret there. Empire not quite having the cover they needed.
So rare that you're ever going to get a successful plant down when you don't have top floor control like that. that. I was literally about to say it as the plant attempt came in. Now, interestingly, Always was covering, I think, more off towards the bottom of Spiral Stairs. There's when that plant was going down, and Packball was able to just move in from antechamber, and there was just absolutely no cover onto that angle. Always did try to react, but it was just far too late. The diffuser goes down cold on the ground, and at that point, without top floor control, you're asking for a miracle, really, and it didn't come. 4-4 we've got, and what a matchup this is turning into.
It is spicy, 4-4. I mean, we speak about us in overtimes. We're already slowly starting to crawl towards it. 2 more rounds each, and we'll find ourselves at that eventuality. Let's see, though, how this next side plays. We're going back onto the downstairs. You've seen the Clash making an appearance once again. Didn't really play a part in the last time defence back in round 7.
No.
That was the flawless round that we saw just a couple ago. So for Secret here, there's going to have to be a small change in idea, I think. Probably not losing your man that's playing inside of security earlier on. That'd be a great start.
It certainly would be helpful. Now then, we've got the Echo of Keenan just setting up the deployable shield on pipes. And interestingly, we've not really seen players taking up that position too much. We've seen the deployable shield getting put out there quite often, but it seems to be 50-50 at the minute as to whether the defenders actually choose to use that area or not. We've seen it naded out by Shaiko a number of times so far this stage, and I think the attackers have just got a reasonable plan of exactly how to deal with that. So in come the spawns. We move into the action phase. Empire once again are likely going to have to work from the top floor down to clear out any Team Secret presence and give them the vertical angles. If you remember last time round, it was all down to the verticals. They got this garage wall opened up quickly, got the nade in there, cleared off the electrical, and then they just moved on to the verticals, surrounding the site and getting the kills.
It's a big one for the control from the above, I think, and for Secret, it's probably not part of their game plan here to play that more aggressive roaming style. And everyone kind of says, roamers is the way to play the game, but I think a BDS defending on Clubhouse, for example, when they play in the basement, very commonly will they, very rarely, will they have any roamers? They tend to all play downstairs in the basement, turtle up, and use that as their kind of go-to defense. And it works wonderfully. As long as you know what it is that you want to play and what angles you're going to contest, it's fine. Clearly in that last round, back in round 7, got caught out by the bathroom hatch, so that's one to watch out for.
I think there's very little presence from Team Secret in and around the map now that should impede Empire coming in here. They're moving in pretty well, getting themselves in through that main door, looking to take control of round desk and spiral area and get those vertical angles. Always is up on the top floor, uncontested once again. And Team Secret, they could end up regretting this, Des. We've seen it previously on this exact site. Team Empire surrounding, getting control, and then able to just rain kills in almost at will. And right now, Team Secret are allowing them to do exactly the same sort of work. There is no challenge from below. We've got a number of men off towards Archives that will look to collapse back onto site when the time comes, but for the time being it's going to be all down to Packball to prevent any potential plant opportunity.
Same stuff as before as well, remove the electro claws, get stuff opened up, nades to come in to get rid of the evilizer. It's playing out almost as an exact echo. In fact, it was in the next 4 seconds that we saw that opening kill coming down through the bathroom hatch. You're not going to see it this time, but these grenades are still coming through. That's both of the evilizers cleared out by now, I'd imagine. So they've got themselves squared up, they're ready, always still getting these vertical angles. Of course, the Twitch on side as well. Now's the time to make something happen, I think, that you're looking at that final 45 seconds. Let's not see Empire stall out.
I think one of those nades might have actually missed a Maestro cam, so there could still be an evil eye in place here, which could play a big part as the round goes on. We'll see whether that is the case or not. 5 versus 5, 35 seconds left to go, and Toxic Babe canisters coming out now to waste time. Still 2 in pocket for Gomfi here, so he can waste an awful lot of time back from that security corridor. Shepard has got himself in on the thermite and is going to start getting that diffuser down. Great cover on the Yokai drone, just being denied there. Kills start coming in. Joystick finds Packball, but not before he stops the plant. It's 3 versus 3. The diffuser's down cold on the ground. There's 10 seconds left to go, and we have a flank coming out from Keenan. Dan starts to get the diffuser down. Surely it's too little too late, but no, he gets 1. He gets 2, does it? The diffuser's in place. It's 1 versus 1. It's all down to Dan on the Ash. He gets himself out of sight, and there's 30 seconds for Keenan to do something about this.
Does he stick it? DePro's fake ace is the big question. Sticking it out now,
stick
Dan.
It. He's got
halfway around the map. The ping's coming through, but he must know on yellow. No, he doesn't. That's going to be 1 out by Dan. Empire take round number 9, but that's one of the ones you look at and just think a second or two's difference, it goes the other way.
it was a difficult call for Keenan. It was
Flanks on flanks on flanks.
It was always going to be a tough one. I tell you what, if that was a different operator, he's on Ash there, who's, we know is a good 3-speed and can move around very quickly. That could have been a different story had it been a different attacking operator. But there's about a second left in the bank there for Dan as he got that one closed out. And that's going to be Team Empire taking another round. This time able to successfully get the diffuser down on the ground, which was nice to see. And Team Secret, they've got questions to ask. They're going to be archives tellers this time, so we imagine we will see some top floor action to begin with. It's going to be Team Empire going in, more than likely trying to take control of admin to begin with. But there is the option for them to do similar again and to move in through garage potentially.
I love how in that round as well, Patbull was kind of forced to make a tough decision, right? He was playing on yellow with the clash shield up, stopping joystick on yellow from just pushing in freely. But as soon as that plant starts going down, he's like, well, the closest guy to prevent this is our Kaid, who's sat in the very back of Cafe. I've got to put my shield down here and go for the spray onto the guy who's going for the plant. Does so, kills the planter, then loses his life immediately after removing that clash that we spoke about being problematic. And you saw how the rest of the round proceeded from there. But it's those small decisions of, I need to take action now or this plant is going to be confirmed. I'll lose my life for it, but I've got to make the play. And sure enough, it worked out just fine. At least for that moment, until the awkward post-plant came through.
Well, yes.
It was a good call, is what I'm saying, basically.
We've got the big flank from Keenan on the replay there, and he was so close. Absolutely agonising as he comes around that corner.
That's a
couple of 100 milliseconds, and he stops that diffuser going down. And I tell you what, you're in a completely different world then, because that diffuser needs collecting and planting within 10 seconds, not to mention the challenge that's going to come in from Keenan. So Team Empire, I won't say we're lucky, but it was fortunate for them at least that the diffuser was successfully planted before Keenan was able to get that kill now. We're going to be coming in from that eastern side as expected, so I think Empire will be looking to gain control over admin and Visa. But we've got the setup, we've got the Aruni, we've got the laser gates. We're trying to hold down admin. I always like these aggressive admin holds.
I thought you were about to say, I really like these laser gates, and I was going to say, oh, do you, Ace, really?
I love a laser gate, mate.
On your birthday, the fact that you get to say laser gate, mate, that's one of the ones. Yeah, it's not quite the big aggressive mirror setup that we saw coming out of, say, G2, and they executed it really well, to give them that credit. But it's still a hold that is going to give admin a bit of difficulty to hold, I think. That being said, they've already found the opening kill onto the castle in this point. Now Keenan lurking around on Visa stairs, looking to find something else as they start contesting and jabbing around this window. C4, that's
nothing's going. It just feels like nothing's going right for Secret at the minute.
No, that's...
On a different day, that...
He's trying to say, please just fall back down for me, please.
On a different day, that Nitro sails through there. It goes through the window. I'm not saying it gets a kill, but it's at least its intended purpose. It's landing in the place that it should be. But Team Secret, it just feels a little bit like nothing is going right for them. Patbull's going to lose his life to a beautiful nade from Always there. 5 versus 3 now. Access gain to admin. This one is all going in the favour of Team Empire right now.
You'll be kicking yourself a little bit as well, because you're like, well, I'm behind a castle barricade. Like, surely I'm safe from a nade. Not when the angle is that precise. Keenan finding one back onto Always, gets a bit more spice in the round. 4 versus 3. Suddenly a 4 versus 1, though. If Empire found 2 out of seemingly nowhere. Hive left alone with everything to do. The angle's there from Scythe of the pixel. Perfect peek onto Hive. Closes the round out, and now we find Empire standing at match point.
Great stuff from Team Empire there, just dealing with problems very, very well. You've got Comfy on the castle, playing in that power position that we spoke about, Des, that G2 showed us so well why it's important. He's got his wall open, he's got his laser gate, he's looking to challenge into admin. Dead, no problem, cleared out. Access gain to admin. We've got Patbull playing underneath, looking to be a nuisance, get nitros up through floors, out of windows, be unpredictable. Nade off a door frame, dead, dealt with. And Empire just answering every question that was asked of them, and right now they're looking pretty good to take this one. 6-4, they've got themselves match point, and they'll have 2 bites at the cherry to close this one out in regulation and take another 3-point win.
I mean, we came into it as well saying Empire, slow attacking team, have struggled on it on Clubhouse last week. And
they're not looking bad today in terms of time.
What I will say is Consulate generally, I would argue, is an easier map to set up for executes with. There is less to do. It's a smaller map anyway, you know. There is more time to play with, dare I say. And sure, a couple of rounds have come a bit closer, both teams, but it is looking better. I'll give you that much as well. Now it's about whether or not that translates across to other maps in the future, but you're definitely not going to complain about this one. Secret starting to set themselves up for a first floor defense. Again, another top floor hole coming out that we're so used to seeing by now. And I keep on touching on that Mute and Mozzie. Again, both incredibly impactful and ever-present, it feels, on this map.
I think the other important point for Empire is that it's not just that they don't seem to be struggling for time in the same way, which, as you say, a factor of that will be the map in some ways, but also they're looking more decisive.
Yes.
It's not, oh, we need a last 20-second rotate to do something different. It's, this is the plan, this is what we're doing, we're going in, step 1, 2, 3, done. And they're just getting on with it, they're being decisive, they're going in for gunfights, they're happy to take the challenges, and they just, again, they look more like the Empire that we've enjoyed in the past.
I think back to like teams when we've seen them planting inside of Garage on this map, and then there's been an evil eye underneath like White Van that's just like chewing away at the planter. We see it so often, yet in every attacking round, Empire have been nading from above. They've had always been there on the sledge, nading these things out, getting them removed. So much so that poor Medics has never actually had a chance to show one being used. The Evil Eyes have been destroyed so early in every single round, and the Yokais, even mid-rotation or hidden under a surface somewhere, are still being sniffed out. It's almost like Empire have got everything droned out and they know the steps that they need to do in the early rounds.
It's almost like Team Secret have played Consulate a couple of times this season, and Empire haven't.
Almost like something to go back and study,
the thing is, it's you know, you can. It may only seem like a small thing, but Team Secret came in playing on Empire's defences with no idea what they were going to do or where things were going to be placed. Whereas Team Secret have got multiple VODs to be able to look at exactly that. Right? Yep, they play a Maestro Cam there. Yep, they play a Mute Jammer there, and they can go in well prepared to clear all that stuff out. And that is what we're seeing.
I said the same about Vitality and Virtus Pro have played Consulate a lot this season is teams are going to keep on figuring you out. Now, sure, last week Virtus Pro proved us wrong a bit and showed, hey, you can play it several times over and eventually a team will fall to what you're doing.
But they did benefit from knowing what Vitality were going to do.
Very true.
It basically just worked in that direction. Somebody had to lose, and it was Vitality who were well planned for by Virtus Pro.
Bit of a war of knowledge between the two sides, it almost feels like. Empire again starting to square their way up, and I love the comp that we're seeing coming out of them, by the way. It just screams aggression with the Twitch, with the Ash, the Zofia. Those three together, absolutely terrific force. And looking towards what Secret had earlier on, the Thermite a lot with the smokes. You've got that on the Twitch if you need them to go in for the plants. You've, of course, got the Ace on side as well. It still works, even though it's maybe not quite a conventional comp that we used to see in teams running these three alongside each other.
It's either going to be droning down those spiral stairs. We'll just take a little detour, a little stop as he moves past, and we'll take out the default cam at the top there. Not sure if he spotted the Maestro of Hive just playing at the top of that lower set of spiral stairs or not. Could be key now. Scyther finding himself a gunfight on the long angle, shut down by Sleben. That's well won with a headshot. Sleben does take an awful lot of damage, but it leaves him in place, and that's the important thing. Shut down by Dan is gone. But Sleben, even with minimal HP, still manages to find a second kill for the round.
It makes it a triple as well. Sleben going huge as the bullets are muted, but the kills certainly aren't. 10 seconds left, 2 versus 4 for Empire. Nothing I think they can really do here outside of a bit of desperation as Hive finds yet another. This round's going to go the way of Secret. They give themselves one more chance to send us through to overtime. It's 6-5.
Empire need to show that they've got that ability to close games out as well now. Very important. I mean, I think coming into this, you know, coming into the last couple of play days, look at Team Empire that we saw in play day 1. Coming off the back of SI, we were all worried about them. We all wondered just how this was going to end for them. The performances just weren't good enough. But now, they could be rocketing up into second if they win this.
I was saying it on Sunday, actually, speaking to a bunch of people on the stream, and I was saying, my top 4 for the stage, Empire are in there, Vitality are in there, BDS are in there, Na'Vi are in there. G2 are the team that I think will just narrowly potentially slip down into 5th place. But that does stand on Empire being able to win games like this because, again, no offense or flame to Secret, they are a team that you need to be beating. If you have got top 4 ambitions, you need to be beating Team Secret, given how things are looking a bit scrappy for them this stage, given the results that they've had. Sure, they beat Na'Vi on day 1. And not at all to, again, make excuses, but Doki came out and said, look, we didn't respect them fully. We didn't come into today prepped already. It was entirely our fault. That was on us. And they've, you know, won everything since then. Two teams on a very different trajectory, and Empire will be chasing a win today, absolutely.
Final round of regulation time then. We're heading into round 12. 6-5 it stands at the moment, with Team Empire having that narrowest of margins of a lead with one more match point opportunity. If they close this down here, they will take a full 3 points and head up, for the time being at least, into second place, which is fantastic considering the start that they had. Now, we're going to be heading into the action phase. We've got Gomfi inside of the bathroom. I think he's going to try and hold that position. He's got the mute, he's got the shotgun. He's going to try and just bait in those CQC engagements on the close quarters, the tight angles in through that door, and see if he can catch himself a man or two. Really, the reason he's in that position is to try and keep Team Empire out of Piano. They're recognising the hurt that has been caused on them through those vertical angles.
And don't worry, we are aware the bullet sounds are missing. I'm sure they will return. Medics has plenty of magical ways for restoring sounds.
We'll get you doing them, Des. It's been done before.
We're definitely not going down that path. I think we had a 3-way cast when we did that before.
Yeah.
It was magic. It worked okay. It's the only way I can describe it. I think Medics is on something here. Getting the drone shot out would be the way, but no one apparently wants to shoot out Shepard's drone. At least him collecting information on the top floor is going to lead to Secret beelining it back to site. No one wanting to be caught out, isolated, pinched. So I think it's the right idea to get yourself back nice and safe.
That's it. A lot of droning work.
Drones, yeah.
I'm going to say a lot of droning work coming in. It's worth mentioning on the updated user interface, updated recently, over the left-hand side, where you've got Shepard, for example. Underneath his name, you can see the drone symbol there, and that just shows you that they are actively droning using that information tool. And then you can see that he's now dropped out of it. So at the glance of an eye, you could see there that there were 4 of Team Empire in the drones, and that was over a minute into the round. So it just shows, as you said, Des, they keep going into these engagements fully aware of where utility is, where players are located, and it is because of good droning.
I think at this point, the droning has been fantastic. We've already commended it from them multiple times. Again, you had 4 players on drones there for a brief second, and 40 seconds after the previous one, it carries on. And there we go, sound restored. Medic just screams in my ear, let's go! They shot a drone, boys, for the first time in the round, it feels like. Although, there are 4 dead on the side of Empire at this point, something you won't be complaining about too much. Still plenty of information to feed back and forth. And let's not forget, this is the downstairs site, by the way. We've seen a lot of focus on the top floor and on the ground floor, but all of that has been in preparation for the downstairs once again. Always doing what Always has done best, continuously swinging that hammer and getting things opened up, and apparently dancing around C4 has now also been added to his CV.
That's it, the foundations are in place for Team Empire now. Always just being careful about his movement. Whilst he's on the stage, he will be immune to any nitros. The explosion will not go through the stage, but if he's on the soft floor for the rest of Piano, then he could get hit by a nitro just like that one. It will not connect though, as Keenan then tries to see if he can get himself an angle on that reverse vertical to just try and get us the first kill here. Now Hive, he's taking a long angle through sight with the Auda there. Gomfi just moving his way up the spiral stairs as well. We've seen an effective flank so far today. We might see another. Shepard, he's getting that diffuser down. It's going to stick. The cover is there. Joystick and down with 2 essential kills. Diffuser activated, and Team Secret, they're up against it now, Des. Keenan, he gets 1. Always shuts him down. 3 versus 2. And Empire, they will have retired way out of sight at this point. They'll be holding those long angles. 1 kill comes in for Gomfi. About 18 seconds for Team Secret to do something here and leave themselves with enough time. Joystick, he takes the head off Gomfi. It's all down to Sleben. Shut down on the long angle from the ramp by Shepard. And that is going to be Team Empire managing to close it out in round 12 and take a full 3 points. Empire march on, Des.
They do, and in almost like a beautiful story, a twist. It was the exact same result as they had in stage 1. Empire won 7-5 on Consulate against Secret last stage. Sure, there have been a couple of changes to the rosters. There's been a change to form for teams like Empire, but they still walk away with the same result. A nail-bitingly close game, but when Empire looked comfortable assaulting that downstairs, taking out key utility, you knew they looked comfortable in that final round,